would heavily affect the development, progress, and success. Withstanding constraints, limitations would be gateway to success. And it indeed delights me to congratulate the organizing committee. They deserve the appreciation for their earnest efforts to help the scholars and faculty for empowering them. I am very much grateful to the resource person who agreed to deliver a talk on this virtual platform. I believe that the guidance to be given by our distinguished guest of honor would facilitate the faculty, participants, and scholars to attain the innovation in the research area. I felicitate our beloved participants, research scholars, students, and wish every one of you good luck and success. Thank you, and wishing this webinar into a success one. Thank you, Nanda.
Thank you, sir, for your felicitations. Now the most awaited moment has come. It's time to hand over the session to our guest of honor and chief guest, Dr. Krishnan Bhaskar sir. May we request Professor Dr. Krishnan Bhaskar sir to enlighten us with his topic, Research and Innovation, Challenges and Opportunities. Please, sir.
Do you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but I couldn't see. I'm just let me see. Sir, could you able to see my screen? But I don't know why I am not seeing my screen.
Yeah? The screen is visible, sir.
எனக்கு தெரிய மாட்டேங்குது.
Okay. Sir, are you using a laptop or?
Yeah, laptop. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, just to minimize the zoom. Maybe you can able to see the PowerPoint presentation.
Normally you see along with the screen. Maybe I will leave and then come back. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay. So now it is visible, sir.
Are you hearing me? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And the participants from various the colleges, indeed I thank the Sadakathullah Appa College for having given me the opportunity to share my experience on research and innovation, and in the topic of research and innovation challenges and opportunities. And as your principal and the vice principal pointed out, the definition of research and innovation, and there is a distinction between these two. Of course, why we are taking up as part of the accreditation process is when you look at the various 6 parameters and criteria, 7 criteria, and you can see that the research, innovation, and extension, which carries about 150 points for autonomous colleges, and then the UG colleges 110 points, and then the PG affiliated colleges about 120 points. And you see, when it comes to the universities, it is the highest 250. Okay. And it doesn't mean that we have to give less weightage in the other institutions, because we are looking out over a period of time. The colleges started centuries ago are now also universities. Okay. It is very important over a period of time. And even when you look at the various policies of the government, and each college will maybe in the coming years will be an autonomous on its own. And therefore, it is very important that research and innovation extension activities are happening in each and every education institutions. Okay. And when you look at this research and innovation, and you can see that there are key aspects like promotion of research facilities, and which says not applicable, but it has to be started in each and every college. And resource mobilization for research should be happening in the all colleges. Innovative ecosystem should be there in the educational institutions, and the institution should publish research papers, and then there should be awards should be given to recognize these researchers, and then the institution should engage for consultancy work, and they will also engage in extension activities and the collaborations. Okay. Nowadays, collaborations are very, very important even to conduct a research, because when you look at even the recent past, more than few decades, in the Nobel Prize given to the scientists, and most of these Nobel laureates are interdisciplinary areas. Therefore, the collaborations, whether it is between the faculties, between the departments, and between the institutions, collaborations are very, very important to have an interdisciplinary research. Okay. And when it comes to the promotion of research and facilities, in the case of autonomous colleges, you can see that there should be research facilities in terms of laboratory equipments. They should have access to the journals, and sheet money should be given to the faculty members. And also there should be a research incentives should be made available to the faculty whenever they make publications. Okay. The institution should encourage and promote a research culture. That means the institution has to give an research culture ecosystem in the campus. And faculty should be given due recognition whenever they make a publication, whenever they get a project, because when it comes to the promotion or higher positions, that should happen based on the what kind of projects they have brought, what kind of awards they brought to the institution, and what kind of papers they have publications made. Therefore, this is also a kind of encouragement for the other faculty members to reach the higher positions. And therefore, whenever we talk about any educational institution, and in terms of the ranking and quality, and they are basically evidence based on the research metrics. For example, journal citation reports. And we talk about what is the citation index of that institution, what is the impact factor of the institution, because it starts from the individual researcher. When the individual researcher citation index and impact factor and the H index goes on higher, the department's metrics will also increase. And then the institution metrics will increase, the state metrics will increase. In the international level, in the global level, the country also stands at a higher position in terms of quality research and education. Okay. And therefore, the institution should also have an official code of ethics to check malpractices, plagiarism in research, and so on. I think you are aware of these kind of softwares when we submit a thesis and papers. And because the main point is the research should be an original research. It should not be a duplication of the work somewhere else done. Okay, that is very, very important. When you talk about research mobilization, the faculty should be encouraged to undertake interdepartment and interdisciplinary research by collaborating with other research organizations and industry. And they can jointly submit a project proposals to the funding agency. Okay. The institution also should take a special effort to encourage the faculties to submit projects, government funding agencies, whether it can be a state or central funding. And the institute also should encourage the faculty members to file patents, because whenever they file a patent, and to file a patent, there will be an expenditure, and to maintain the patent also there is an expenditure. Therefore, the institution should have a sufficient budget allocation for these kind of activities, and so that the individual faculty should not have burden on this. Okay. The incentives shall be given for receiving the state and national and international recognition for the research contributions. And as I mentioned, the significant number of research articles published in a reputed journals. How do you say a reputed journal? The reputed journal means the journal should have a very good impact factor. The journal impact factor depends on how many people actually refer that particular journal in the recent past. If large number of are refer that particular journal and the article published in the particular journal and then the impact factor of the journal will increase. Therefore, when you want to make a publication, unless you have a novelty and very high impact in the among the researchers, that the publishers will not publish in that particular journal. Therefore, it is very, very important that we make publications in the quality journals. Okay. When you talk about the innovation ecosystem, and to have an innovative system in in an institution, and the institute should create an ecosystem for innovation. Like, for example, they have to create an incubation center, because now you see the government of India, there is an Atal incubation facilities through Ministry of Education. The funding is available. The colleges can set up an incubation centers, and the incubation center, normally when we think about a technology innovation, it doesn't mean that always an high-end technology. Even can be the technology or innovation if it benefits to the rural, the small farmers, and even the small vendors or small business people, or like small industries. And there also you can see that there is a lot of innovation will be there, and so that you can have a effective functioning of those industries and those people, so that they can contribute for the development of the society. Okay. And therefore, the institution should also conduct workshops, seminars, symposia. The institution means who will conduct. The faculty has to conduct. Okay. And there are a lot of funding is also available from Department of Science and Technology, DST, Government of India, University Grants Commission, and DRDO, CSIR, and even BRNS, Board of Research in Nuclear Sciences, and Tamil Nadu State Council. There are so many funding agencies are available to conduct workshops and seminars, because these conducting of workshops and seminars are very, very important, because you bring in people in that particular domain knowledge from various parts of the country and also all over the world. Therefore, you have an exchange of idea, you listen to the lectures, and then so that you get ideas, and from which you can start working. You can assign a problem to your research scholars, and you can also collaborate with those scientists coming from other parts of the institution in the country and the rest of the world. Okay, therefore that is how the innovation can happen. And also during the workshops also we can invite the industries, and then we can ask them to make a presentation about what are the problems are being faced by the industries. And then so that when the faculty members and the students listen to their problems, and we may already would have developed some solutions to those problems, and or we can also discuss and come up with new solutions, so that you can contribute to the development of the industries. Okay. And then when you talk about the innovation ecosystem, and we have to create awards, and also not only in the institution, and all over the country, even the AICT and even Tamil Nadu government, Government of India gives awards for the innovation to the teachers and students. And therefore the institution should encourage, and the faculty members and students working these institutions also should aspire for those kind of things. Then only you will start doing research, because to have an innovation, the fundamental thing is you have to start research. Okay. If you have a good research, and then if you have a novelty, and it can lead to an innovation. Okay. And when it comes to the research publications, why do you need to publish the research papers? Because when you have a quality research, your research need not be always a patented one. Okay. When you talk about a patented one, and it is more of the commercial applications, and it may be useful to the industries. In a way, it is also good, because when you develop a new novelty or new innovation, and if you patent it, if you sell it to the company, and company get benefited, and if you could employ large number of peoples, and if you make a production, not only for the needs of this country, if they could export the production, that means they will always contribute in the GDP of our country. That means they will contribute to the economy of this country, and indirectly they will give benefits to the people. Okay. And the research can also be published in the paper, so that it will be open to everyone. Okay. And they can make use of this research. And that one good example is Sir C.V. Raman's invention of the Raman effect. It is open to everyone, and today you see all over the world people are making Raman spectrometers, and then they are using these spectrometers and spectroscopy for discovering new organic molecules, and also for the drug development for medical industries, and they are all doing it. It's an open research. Okay. Therefore, you can have a patented based technology, or it can be also a open research. It can ultimately, it will not only benefit to the society in the country, as a society, a human society, as a world in the world. Okay. And therefore, when we talk about a research which can evolve as a feature reflecting in their doctoral and postdoctoral projects, and also it will also reflect in the their innovations. If that institutions is having more and more innovations, means they would have done a lot of research. If the discovery is evolved in from that particular institution, means there would have been a lot of research would have been conducted in that particular institution. Okay. Therefore, as I mentioned earlier, when we talk about what is the outcome of research, that is basically judged based on the number of patents, number of research publications, and which is reflected in terms citations, H index, and so on. Okay, as I mentioned, and it will give the reputation not only to the individual, not only to the institution, it will give a reputation to the state, and it will give the reputation to the nation at the global level. Okay. Therefore, findings of research through various means enhance the quality of teaching and learning. And we also have the saying, normally a good researcher is usually the good teacher. Okay. And so that if you have your electives, particularly in a specific domain areas, and if you have a deep research in that particular domain, and you can make a better delivery to the students, you can make a better understanding to the students when it goes to the postgraduate level and PhD level. Okay. And this is just to show you what are the various opportunities are available in terms of funding. Okay. And when you look at like the funding agency like Indo-French Center, they give funding, and the faculty those who are attending, have a look at this, and you see the deadlines are yet to be there, and you have still open, and you can also submit the project proposals using project proposals to get funding from these institutions. Okay, you have the IRFA and you have the SCRB programs. The deadlines are given, and you have the National Aeronautic Space Research DSD program on fuel cell programs, and Bioscientist Award, and Technology Translation Award, promoting opportunities for women in exploratory research. The women faculty members or researchers who are attending this program can look for this particular website, and you can see that 30th September is the last date, and you can apply and submit the proposal. Okay. And you have to keep on applying. And if there is a small novelty in your proposal, the probability of winning the project will be very high. Okay. And you can see that the biotechnology related assistance using BIRAC programs are there for product commercialization. And DRDO, LSRB programs are there. It is for the seminars and symposia. It can happen throughout the year. And you have the DST nanomission, nanotechnology, and for the specifically disadvantaged section of the people, to encourage those teachers and the students. And there is also the specific schemes for the scheduled caste subplans are there, which is available throughout the research. And extramural funding is also available in the case of the ICMR. And then even DST, SCRB, you can see that IRIS award. And these are the various schemes are available. I think if you Google and then see the Department of Science and Technology, there are programs in which you can submit your project proposals throughout the year. And there are programs with specific deadlines. Therefore, I encourage all the faculty members who are attending this program to submit the project proposals. There are a lot of openings are there to get a fund, because when you want to have a good research students to work with you, and if you provide a fellowship, and you can attract a better students in compared to non-stipendary students. Therefore, if you write more and more project proposals, and then if you have more and more fellowships, you can have more students. In fact, I have guided so far 22 PhD students, and all 22 PhD students are always with a fellowship. None of them are without fellowship, because I could make about nearly 10 crores of funded projects from Department of Science and Technology, DRDO, and CSIR, Tamil Nadu government, and so on. And therefore, this is why you have to consistently make efforts to submit the proposal. Don't get disappointed when your proposal got rejected. Okay, you should keep on applying again and again, discuss, interact, and then see that how to improve your project proposal, and so until you win the project. I think you should not give it up. Okay, and it is also, you have, when you are competing at the national level, it is very competitive. Once you win the project, your confidence level will also very high, and therefore you can also motivate the youngsters to submit such project proposals and get the funding. Okay, when it comes to the consultancy can happen only when you would have conducted a good research. Okay, when you have a good research over a period of time, the institution or faculty member would have established a good facilities, research facilities, testing facilities, characterization facilities. Okay, when you have these kind of infrastructure, when you have a knowledge in particular domain. For example, if you take a textile industry in your region, and they may have a lot of problems in the production, they may have problem in the fiber, they may have problem in the fabrics. And then if you are tie up with those industries, and then if you have already some basic infrastructure, for example, if you are working on nanotechnology, and if you prefer to have a nano coating on a fabric, and then if you collaborate and already you would have done a good research in that particular area, then the company will come for a consultancy work. When it comes to the consultancy work, and it is much more freedom compared to the research project, because in the research project there are set guidelines are given by the funding agency to incur an expenditure of that fund. Whereas in the case of the consultancy project, it is up to the consultant, the investigator, the faculty member. You can spend the money the way you want, and therefore it is much more flexible, and therefore it is not only also get you the money in terms of remuneration, now get you the money to the department and the institution as a overhead charges, but it also give visibility among the industries. Therefore, it is very, very important to have a quality of research and conduct of research in the institution. Then only you can undertake the consultancy work. And then the consultancy work, you have to attract the industry. How can you attract the industry? And by associating with the consortium of industries, you can think about Confederation of Industries in Tirunelveli, Thuthukudi, and I think and these are all also industrial belts are coming up. And then the national level associations are there, and there are so many industrial associations are there. We should interact with them, we should communicate with them, and whatever research outputs are available with our institutions needs to be published in the institutional websites, and it should be then and there. You can convene a press meet. The institutions can convey what are the research and development are going on in that particular institutions. It can be print media, digital media, and social media, and so on. Once you popularize what you have in the institution, then the industry will be interested to come forward, and you can take a consultancy work. Therefore, to take a consultancy work also, the institution should have a official policy. But that means when the professor or faculty members are involved in the projects or consultancy work, and they should be given less academic load. And if somebody brings a project, and if somebody is engages in the consultancy work, you should encourage the faculty by giving the less teaching load and giving more opportunities towards to conduct of the research. And therefore, there should be a policy itself in the institution. And there should be also clear-cut guidelines, because when the faculty brings money, and the institution should not curtail or restrict put so many restrictions to spend the money, because the investigator should feel free to spend the money the way the funding agency, the sanction for the purpose it was sanctioned. Okay. And therefore, when the consultancy work is happening in the institution, and it is also credibility to the institution. Okay. And it is also reached not only within the country, for also outside the world. Okay. When it comes to it, also increases the finances to the institution. For example, when you talk, because now, as you know, I am heading a center called Center for Technology Development and Transfer. I will just tell you what this center is doing. Okay, this center is responsible. It is an autonomous center. I need not go to the registrar or vice chancellor. The director of the Center for Technology is given powers by the syndicate, and he has unlimited powers when it comes to the projects and consultancy. That means he can issue the sanction, he can pass the bill, and he can make the payment to the people. Okay. And you can also transfer the technology. And as such, the budget of this Center for Technology Development and Transfer is 60 crores. And in the 60 crores, you can see that about 35 crores will be the consultancy work, and 25 crores will be the research work. About a couple of crores maybe in the testing and conduct of seminars, conference, and so on. Okay. And you see, such a huge money is being spent per year in Anna University by the center, because this center has a set policies, and for every how to operate a project, how to do the consultancy work, how to do the technology transfer. There are set guidelines are made available for the faculty members. Therefore, the faculty member feel comfortable to bring in the projects of research projects, consultancy projects, and also they will involve in the testing of programs. And if there is any technology transfer, and we will normally facilitate between the consultant or the innovator faculty and an industry, and a transfer a technology, and through which the royalty will come to the institution. Not only to the institution, the royalty will be also paid to the individual faculty member. There are several faculty members who earn crores of rupees per year as a consultancy remuneration, and also the technology transfer royalty. Okay, and it's just one example. When Anna University can do, and every other institution can also do. Okay, maybe everywhere there may be limitations. If not 60 crores, and one can do 6 crores. Okay, and that is what I want to convey, how the research and consultancy work is being done, innovation is being done in Anna University. We have an incubation center. We have set guidelines also for who can start, make a startup in the incubator. There are, if you access the website of the Anna University, the details are also available. Okay, and when people bring in a lot of money and lot of consultancy grants, and we should also give awards. And actually, these are the different awards being given by the Anna University for people who have transferred the technology. We call it as a technology transfer award. I think it is roughly about 1 lakh. And then the people who have not transferred, and every year we give, and a distinguished researcher award, not only for one person, it can be more than a few people also, depending on if they qualified certain criteria which we have given in the innovation award and technology transfer award. And distinguished researcher award is given the people who bring in lot of projects to the university. And active consultant award of 25,000 rupees and citation will be given to the people who bring in the consultancy money. And then research excellence award is given to the people who contribute to more than 100 research publication in a impact factor journals. That means the Scopus indexed journals. This is just one example. And these are some of the small incentives and encouragements to the faculty members to motivate them to do research and consultancy, so that they will get motivated. Particularly the young people will get motivated with this small money. Okay, and that is how one has to. Okay. And these are the various extension activity. I think this is not our topic of interest today. And I think you are also aware of those things. Okay. And the collaborations are very, very important, because when you talk about a consultancy projects, and it's very, very essential, because today when you look at the website of the Department of Science and Technology Funding Agency, they encourage the multi-institutional projects. That means in one institute, you can be a lead project. In other institute can be the principal investigator of that particular thing. Therefore, if you form a cluster of institutions, like more than one institutions, and then if you identify what will be the problem to be attended by this specific institution, what is the budget required by this institution, and how we are going to integrate the deliverables developed by these institutions, so that you can have a development or partnership with the company. Okay. And then if you have such a understanding with other institutions, if you jointly make a proposals, and I think the government of India through various funding programs encourages such programs also. I think you have to look for that. Therefore, it is very, very important that we have the collaborations. Okay, if you have a collaborations with the industries, and then you see it is not only enhance the technology transfer or consultancy or joint research project, it can also enhance the student placement. Because when you look at the definition of the purpose of the educational institution, these are some of the points. Okay, and if you graduated from institution, if he is conducting a good research, if he is becoming an entrepreneur, or if he is going to a good company and working for the company, and these are the basic criteria which define the quality of the institution. Okay. And therefore, it is very, very important that we do the research innovation, and this can enhance by having collaborations. Okay. for which you can create a memorandum of understanding. You can have a joint project, and joint patents also possible with industry and with academic institutions, and therefore the collaborations are very, very important. That's why it has been given equal points, whether it's a university or a UG college. Okay, all will get 20 points. Okay, and this shows that. And when you go to the history of higher education, and when it comes to the university education, and even today the oldest university in the world is the Bologna University in Italy, the city called Bologna, and which was started in 1088. And that means more than 900 years ago, the institution has been started. And the beauty of that institution is, though we claim in India about the Nalanda, Dakshashila, and so many oldest universities, but they are not functional today. Okay, but whereas this Bologna University was started in 1088, but without any interruption, stopping, and they are consistently performing. Okay. When it comes to the India, and the oldest institutions are, some of you are also aware, and this Mumbai University, Madras University, and Calcutta University, which was started way back to 1857. That means 160 years ago. Okay, started. And later on we can see that there are a lot of IITs have been started, and later on ISIS are started, and then now today you can see that a lot of IIIT, the Indian Institute of Information Technology on public-private partnership, and Indian Institute of Science and Engineering Research, ISER. There are so many, several institutions are there. You can see that close to 1,000 universities are available in this country. Okay, and are we doing a good justification having so many institutions in terms of research and innovation? But actually it is not. Okay, we'll see later on why it is not. I think you are all also aware. And also, to improve the quality of education, you can see that various education commissions have been formed over a period of time. Of course, over a period of time, we also had an improvement, but it is compared to our neighboring countries, I think we are much behind. I think we have to long way to go to improve the standard of education. Okay, the quality of education. The quality of education will reflect on the research, innovation, employment opportunities, inventions, and that is how the quality of education will reflect. Yeah, as I mentioned that today, the interdisciplinary education is very, very important. The physics guy and economics guy, the chemistry guy and commerce guy, the chemistry guy and biotechnology guy or geology guy, and they have to jointly work and make a proposals to the funding agencies. Okay, and that's why the cross interdisciplinary should happen in this country. Unless otherwise that happens, and we cannot come up with a novelty and innovation. Okay, it has to essentially happen. And when you look at the success rate of the Western education system in terms of research and development, you can see that the cross-disciplinary, the lateral movement by the student from one discipline to other disciplines are possible. I think we also should have come up with that kind of policies. I think people are spelling out in various education policies, but how we are going to implement, whether this country is prepared to implement those kind of policies, whether we have adequate infrastructure facility, whether we have adequate number of teachers, whether the students are willing to take these kind of interdisciplinary education. These are some of the challenges. I think over a period of time, it can be solved and then evolve. Okay. And when you talk about the definition of research, and today we see that when you talk about research, to answer scientific questions, to solve problems, and to make something new. Okay, this is what the definition of research. Okay, and when you look at even the Cambridge Dictionary also, it is a new understanding. Okay, especially in order to discover information or reach a understanding. Okay, this is how the definition of research is. This is just to say that why do you want to take up research? As I mentioned, that it is to develop an analytical framework of mind of the teachers and increase the confidence in teacher, develops ability and clarity, articulate your ideas, and it extends perhaps human knowledge by an infinitesimal thing. Okay, and those who enjoy learning new things, if you want to learn new things, and you have to conduct research. Okay. And to do PhD, you need not be smart. Okay. You should be able to spare sufficient time and energy. If you are smart, maybe you will do it very quickly. Okay. And for research, you need to have the patience and persistent effort, and then persistence with consistent effort, and with the hard work, and you can see that you can conduct research. Okay. And then this also will change your mindset. You will be prepared to able to accept rejection and failure, because when you publish a paper, the paper may, when you try to publish a paper, the paper may be rejected by the journal. And then when it is rejected, it's not just like that rejected, it would have been reviewed, and then the international experts will give you a comment. What are the problems and why this paper is rejected, and what are the points to be addressed? Therefore, you will get a new idea, new information, and then if you rectify that, and you can see that you can able to present the paper and then publish it. Therefore, it will also create a mindset among the teacher and student to accept the rejection and failure, because today it is the one of the very the major problem among the youngsters. Okay. And then it will have a tenacity to accept new ideas. Okay. And these are the various stages: you survey, and then problem solving stage, oral presentation, writing, data management, publications, and patent or product. Okay. These are the various 4 stages in the research procedure, because those who are involved in the research, you know, because first you fix a problem or a topic, then you do the survey, what's going on globally, and then you define the problem, and then you work out the research plan, and then you try to solve those problems, and then you publish those papers in the conferences and journals in terms of oral presentation, publish a report, or it can be a data management, and then you publish, and then it can evolve into a patent or a product. Okay. These are the various steps involved to conduct the research. Okay. These are the details about what is a survey, how to define a problem, and what is making a plan for management. And these are the various, okay, when it comes to the solving the problem, these are the what is the, how to redefine the problem. You have to have a brainstorming interaction with your colleagues or the group of people who are experts in this particular. There should be having a periodic discussions in the department, and the departments and should also conduct a periodic seminars. It can be a student seminar, it can be a research seminar, so that there's a research student can make a presentation, all the faculty members, students discuss, and then deliberates, and then come up, give suggestions, come up with new ideas, and so that the quality of the research or the quality of the paper published by that particular researcher or faculty member will be very high. Okay. And these are all the various things when you think about a oral presentation, how to manage the time, where to present, and these are the writing report. And because we have a shortage of time, and maybe just I will rush, and some of you may be already also aware about publication, patent, and products. And therefore, when you talk about the best researchers, the best researchers means those who manage to be creative thinking. Okay. They are to be original, innovative, and imaginative. Okay. And you have to think outside the square, out of box thinking should be there. Okay. But it doesn't mean that you deviate from your target. Okay. You have to target your objective, but you should have a out of box thinking. Okay. And then we have to use our intuitions and logic of that institution. Okay. And we have to be fluid and flexible. You should not be rigid. This is how I will do it. This is what correct. Okay. And you have to be flexible, willing to accept ideas and deliberate, and then discuss this, and then come up, deliberate, and then come up with the new methodology. Okay. And then the good researcher, you can see that always he will be inspired, and he can have a imaginative and ingenious. Okay. In the development of methods that are realistic and which are doable. Okay. And this is how these are some of the qualities of a good researcher. Therefore, we have to make up our mind and see that we have these kind of qualities, at least to some extent. Okay. And this is the research flow diagram, and whatever I said in the previous. Okay. When it comes to the technology development and innovation, okay, developing technology will not happen just 1 hour or 1 day. Okay, it's a long time process, and sometimes it may be a large funding. Sometimes the funding can be risky funding also, because you come up with logical thinking, and then people will find sometimes you may have failures also. Okay, and most of the times in case of academic institutions, we use the R&D funding from the government, the public funding. Okay, of course we can also target the CSR fundings from the companies. Okay, and the technology transfer or company incubation can happen when entrepreneurs could work in R&D labs from the beginning. Okay, therefore if you want to become an entrepreneur, and you should have the working culture with the research and development lab. Okay, wherever research is happening in the department or the R&D labs, you should engage with them, and later on you can spin out, and then you can have a startup at a right time, and then you can have your own company. Okay, the one of the very successful model in Tamil Nadu is the IIT incubation park, and which was few thousand crores worth of industries are evolved out of that IIT park, IIT research park. Okay, and then as I mentioned, you can have but nothing is quick results. You can have a multiple failure, and sometimes you have to involve large number of youngsters in terms of master students and PhD students. That's why we say that master students should also have a dissertation research project, so that they will learn what is research at the preliminary level, at the primitive stage. Therefore, when they move on to PhD, they can have a better understanding. Okay, it can be the software area, it can be a chemistry, physics, or even literature, and the case may be the same. Okay, and it is just to example of a software. Okay, a software requires a long-term collaborations. Okay, and then there may be so many companies, so many people are involved in the software development, because the software is being used everyday life process. Okay, therefore it is tough to come up with a new software which needs to have a long collaborations with the departments, with the industries. And then if you want to develop like an electronic systems or mechanical systems, and you need to have, it's not necessary that always you have to do it experimentally, and you can always create a simulation. Okay, now there are so many simulation softwares are available. It is also you can see that it is also a free software available in the open platform. It's open software. Okay, and then the faculty members can make use of those simulation software. You give a various input parameters, and then you simulate it and come up, and that is also how you can do research, and you can develop a product. Okay. And today you see people are talking more about artificial intelligence, data analysis, because this is going to rule the latest technologies like artificial intelligence, data analytics, the data science and robotic system. Battery technology, I think it is one of the important technology. You see today, the main problem with the most of the equipment is the draining of the battery. Though we have come up with an advanced technology in batteries, today we are talking about battery driven vehicles and cars and automobiles, but the life of the battery is not longer. Okay, we are talking about solar cells, solar power supply, but the main problem is the lifetime of the battery. Okay, therefore we need to develop this battery technologies, and then the ICD design. And today you can see even in the newspapers also, and this unmanned aerial vehicle system, UAV, recently would have read in the newspaper, and some intruded unmanned aerial vehicles are entered into the Kashmir, and then they are trying to attack our military targets. And these are some of the emerging technologies. These UAVs for the organ transport, or even for the emergency services, unaccessible areas, this UAVs can access for detection. There are disaster management. There are several applications. You can see that in the coming days, the unmanned aerial vehicle systems is going to happen in day-to-day life. And medical instrumentation and diagnostic facilities are coming up more and more. and the energy system management, motors and controllers. This is inverters and education technologies also. I think this COVID has made us to learn many things and how to come up with new education technologies and how to educate a student through online portal process. When a student is not having access to the laboratory and virtually, how you can make the student to have a virtually access. And you can see that today the softwares, the simulation are available such a way that the students can conduct an experiment, whether it is a physics experiment or chemistry experiment. He can take appropriate quantity of the chemical, he can take a screw gauge, he can take a specimen, he can design virtually, he can give parameters, and then he can conduct the experiment also. Therefore, this is also one emerging area. You can see that it's happening even today. Okay. And then the medical technologies, eventually it has to happen. And because we are yet to come up remedies for various infectious diseases. One example is this COVID also. Okay. And then and sometimes it is also difficult when it comes to the larger investment, because larger investments may be a problem. And but still, if there is an innovation, I think people will be willing to invest. Okay, and these are the take longer time. And then it also needs a larger investment, like chemical and processing technologies, material technologies, battery technologies, and solar cell, pharmaceuticals, and of course, software is also nowadays becoming a large investment technologies. And today we are making Internet of Things, and these are all the emerging technologies. Okay. And therefore, the other relevant technologies, because considering our large number of population of 1.3 billion, I think it's slightly over 7 billion globally, the population. And then every day we use large number of gadgets and then environmental friendly appliances, and how we are going to recycle them. We are not afford to discard them on the earth and contaminate the earth. Okay. And for example, if you contaminate your tube lights contains mercury, and then mercury is a heavy metal. And then if you contaminate more and more heavy metals on the surface of the earth, and then you can eradicate the entire human race, because the heavy metals are known for affecting the reproductive system. Okay. And then in India, the agriculture, okay, the economy of this country is more on agriculture. The large number of populations are living on agriculture. Therefore, what kind of new technologies we can come up? And you can see that every day we are wasting food. And then you can also see that the farmers are just dumping their vegetables and throwing out the milks on the roads because they are not getting the proper pricing. Therefore, the problem is we are not having a sufficient food processing technologies and food storage technologies, so that you can keep it for a longer period of time. And whenever there is a shortage, it can be used not only within the country, we can also export properly. Okay, these are in the food processing technology. You can see that people are today talking about the nuclear irradiations and these kind of things, so that it can last for longer years. Okay, and these are some of the important technologies. Okay. And for the environment, renewable energy, we are talking about today. See, in India, the urban population is very high, dense urban populations, and in terms of the sanitation facilities, in terms of the health facilities, in terms of water, and in terms of energy. And there is a large demand, and therefore it is very, very important that we have come up with new technologies to solve the problems faced by the urban life in terms of transportation. Okay, you can see that even in Chennai, people are maybe once it's normal, you can see that the people are on the footboards of buses. Everywhere people are long queues. Okay, and how we are going to manage those problems with the technologies. All these things will happen only when we have a good research, and that will lead to education. As I mentioned, education and healthcare technologies, which are very well coming up. Okay. And sir, coordinator sir, எனக்கு எவ்வளவு நேரம் டைம் இருக்கு? Hello?
Sir, up to 4:30, sir.
Okay, 15 minutes more. Okay, I will try to rush. Okay, and you see, just this one example when we talk about lighting technology. Okay, and you know the sunlight And you see that as we know that it is very important because to have an innovative idea, first we should try to understand the nature. In the process of understanding the nature, we try to evolve with the new process. Okay, when the apple is falling down, the Newton should discover the gravitational force. Okay, similarly, you can see the Archimedes principle. When somebody sees a lightning, you can see that how the electricity has been produced. Okay, therefore, when you try to understand the nature, then you can slowly come up with new ideas and innovations. Okay, nature is the mother of invention. Okay, and one good example is the sunlight. Okay, when the sunlight falls on the plants, you can see that it can make use of the carbon dioxide, it can make use of the water, and then the plant is growing. And today, to the surprise, the photosynthesis, maybe the chemistry faculty can understand this is how the simple equation. If 6 carbon dioxide molecule and 6 water molecules combines, and then they are helping for the photosynthesis to produce the glucose so that the plant can live, and they can also leave carbon dioxide. That's why in the daytime, the plants leave a lot of carbon dioxide. They are good. We say that. That's why we also say for environmentally, we have to plant large number of plants. Okay. When you look at the food chain, look at, okay, you have the small, the grass, and then the grass is, the grasshopper is eating the grass, and then you can see the mice, and then you see the snake, and then you can see the owl, and then you can see that this cycle process is happening. Okay, and this is how the food chain is happening. Once this bird dies, you can see that it goes to the surface of the earth, and it will become a manure, and then the manure is useful to the plant. And it is everywhere this is applicable. This is a food chain process. You can understand the importance of sunlight. Okay, if the sunlight is not there, it cannot happen this process. Okay, and then you see when you try to but today when you're talking about the lighting technology, the human race started with fire, then later on oil lamps, and then you can see the tungsten filament lamp, and then tube, and then tube lights. Then you can see the LED and LED technology and so on. Okay, and this is how the technologies evolved when people try to understand how sunlight is produced. Okay, when you look at the sunlight, you can see that within the sun, and you can see that the sun produces the gamma rays because there is a nuclear fission process happening within the sun. And therefore, when you try to understand this end, you try to understand what is a nuclear fusion process. Okay. And then there's nuclear fusion process with internal absorption, they produce a lot of temperature. When it produces the temperatures, and it also produces a lot of rays from the surface of the sun. Okay. See, these are the dimensions of this sun's dimension. And this is the right side, it is the spectrum which reaches on the surface of the earth. Okay, and this is the spectrum is being used for the solar cell convention. But the radiations which comes up at the sun, you see that they look at the technologies which we are using. Okay, the radiations which comes out of this sun, if it is in the longer wavelength region, and you call it as a radio wave application, and it is a microwave, then you can see that it's a longer wave. Okay, and microwave is being used in your mobile phone and microwave oven. And when it comes to the infrared transmitter, every one of us, you and me also produce infrared. Whenever there is a temperature, and then they produce infrared. That's why the thermal screening on the airports, thermal screening of temperature of the body is happening because that particular body produces the temperature which can be sensed. This is an infrared. Okay, and then only a small portion of the visible light. And you see the radiations which comes out of the sun as an energy. Okay, that's why the energy is everywhere. We breathe energy, we feel energy, we get energy, and energy is everywhere once you start living on the surface of the earth, and the energy is around you. And the visible spectrum is a small spectrum. You see that the energy is in terms of electron volt. In electron volt, the energy is there. Okay, and therefore this is the energy which reaches on the surface, and this energy is being used by the plants and small microbes, and from which without that there will not be any living creature. Okay, and this is just to understand when the radiations are coming out of the sun, you can see that different types of radiations, and different types of radiations you see when it is short rays, because when it closer to the sun, when the wavelength is very short, the x-rays are coming up. Okay, that's how the x-rays have been discovered. And then the nuclear rays, the gamma rays, alpha rays, beta rays, they are all coming out, and they are called a nuclear radiation. You see, the nuclear radiation today we are using it for cancer treatment. X-rays are used for various applications, even to know where the fracture of the bone. Okay, the ultraviolet rays are being used for your water treatment, and then what is called sterilization. Okay, and today when we talk about this COVID treatment, and then if we expose to the ultraviolet, within a fraction of the second, the COVID virus dies once it gets exposed to the ultraviolet. There are so many gadgets are being coming up, and this would happen only when there is a research and development. Okay, and you see, these are just to highlight how the inventions have happened in the past. You see that the first Nobel Prize was given for physics in 1901 for the discoveries of X-rays by the Röntgen rays. And you see, the discoveries are also happen accidentally when he was working with the photographic plate, and you could see that the photographic plates kept in the wooden cupboard got exposed, and then he realized that something, an invisible rays which get in through the wood, and maybe that would have exposed the photographic plate. Then he invented the X-rays. And by making use of the X-rays, today whatever technology we have, the communication technology, the lighting technology, even your television, mobile phone, and your internet, and your optical fiber, everywhere you see that the understanding of the crystalline materials, which has happened because of the William Bragg and his father Henry Bragg. They jointly discovered how to use these X-rays, and then they come up with a diffraction, and then they got Nobel Prize. In fact, the 25 years old when he got the Nobel Prize. Okay, therefore for inventions, discoveries, and research, age doesn't matter. Okay, this is just to emphasize that. Okay, now coming to India, you see, when you look at the history of India in 1920 to 1945, during the period of 1920 to 1945, we could do a very good research. But after that, it's slowly gone down, and then maybe we are trying. Maybe today we are trying to improve, but still it is long way. Okay, but in 1930, the Sir C.V. Raman should discover the Raman effect, scattering of light. And but after that, none of these research scientists in this country could able to get a Nobel Prize. Therefore, what's happening in this education system? Okay, that we have to think about it. Whether we are producing the proper students, and whether we are making the students to think laterally and then come up with new idea and concept, whether we are encouraging for such things. And I think we have to think about all these things. It's a very one of the interesting thing when we talk about Raman effect is when he was traveling from the London to Mumbai and way back and forth in a ship, and he was wondering, and of course at that time the Rayleigh was already discovered that the sky is blue because of the scattering of low wavelength, that means the high energy visible light of blue light, and therefore that is the reflection of the sky only, the sea is blue in color. But the Raman will have always have an intuition, and then he was trying to understand why it should happen blue and what kind of scattering is happening. Therefore, he intensively worked on the scattering phenomenon of light by various liquids. And then he could found that with his students, Krishnan, and the Raman could find that when a blue light is passed through a specific liquid, the liquid is in green color. When the wavelength of the incident color is different, and you can see that the liquid color is also different. Therefore, he understood that the color of the liquid is not just a reflection of the color which is used, but it is something else is happening. and therefore he could discover the longer wavelength and shorter wavelength, and then that is we call it as a Stokes line and anti-Stokes line, and then that evolved as a Raman effect. And then today you see that Raman spectrophotometer is being used to understand the organic molecules and make a discovery of new drugs. Okay, and after that the Indian born the physicists, the scientists are only these three people in science. Okay, and it is also interesting to note that all three of them are only from Tamil Nadu. Therefore, we should feel proud about our state, our culture, our thinking process. It has not happened in any part of the country. Okay, they are all with the origin of Tamil. Okay, of course, the other two are Subramaniam Chandrasekhar and Venkatraman. They are the Indian origin, but most of the research was conducted outside the world. Okay, and then in the case of Chandrasekhar, he was trying to understand the formation of universe, formation of earth, formation of sun, how stars are formed. And then in the case of Venkatraman, and today we are talking about various vaccines like Covishield, Covaxin, and Pfizer. And then the Americans are using the Pfizer. The Pfizer is basically based on the RNA technology. Okay, and the contributions made by the Venkatraman are enormous. And because of his contribution, for which and his group of team and the people who worked on the RNA, and now the US could develop the Pfizer vaccine, and then they are using to inoculate the and which is a new concept actually, because whenever in the past also people talk about vaccination, the vaccinations are developed from the dead virus or the live virus. They culture it, and then out of that they create the vaccine, and then they maybe they give it to the human beings, and then the human body generates the antibodies for that. Okay, but mRNA is a new topic. Okay, and then they manipulate the RNA. Okay, the RNA, and then the RNA goes and attack or multiplies the proteins in a particular affected area, and then kills the SARS viruses, and it produces called the SARS-CoV-2 spike protein. And this technology has evolved because of the inventions and the contributions made by Venkatraman. Okay, why I want to emphasize these three scientists, because they are the only three scientists who got Nobel Prize of Indian origin and Indian, and you can see that how the discoveries are being used in various industries. Okay, and yeah, and this is just about lighting technology, and I will just tell you, when you do a good research, and you can see that this is going to be the future lighting technology, smart lighting, organic LED. And today we talk about Wi-Fi technology, and tomorrow you can see about Li-Fi technology, because light is going to play a major role. It is called the light fidelity technology, because you would have seen that when you want to have multiple operations at a time in your mobile phone, and it is not possible, because if you are hearing an FM radio, and if your telephone comes in, and you can see that that gets switched off. Therefore, the multiple operations and high densities of data are possible only when you have the light-based technology. And that is why Li-Fi technologies will come up, and it is going to be the huge potential. People have come up with new ideas, new concepts, and you can see that the market potentials are very high. And the other technology is the light therapy technology, and then daylight harvesting technologies, and then color temperature control technologies, and internet-based control technologies. And you can create your rooms with modes and all those things. This is just one example of how the LED lighting technology and new emerging areas in the LED lighting will have the potential in terms of innovation and market. Okay. And sound absorbing lamps. You would have seen that in urban areas, maybe the heavy vehicles are passing through the roads, and then they're giving a lot of noise, and it may disturb your sleep, and then you will also have disorders. Okay, the sleep disorders. And then if your lamp itself absorbs the light, and then you can happily sleep also. Okay, and during night and during daytime, you can also work at workplace with your productivity. You can work. Okay. And then this is what I said about the UV light. The UV light, 99% of the viruses, it will kill UV light. How we are going to use UV light? These are all emerging technologies. These are all some of the applications of cancer detection. And this is for water purification. And yeah, this is one simple example. Maybe the chemistry teacher will appreciate. Like we know that palladium is a what is that? Palladium metal. We know very well the palladium metal, and then a semiconductor. And if the palladium metal is in contact with an hydrogen molecule, it dissociates into hydrogen ions. And when it dissociates into the hydrogen ion diffuses, and then you can see that it will give you a current, and it will trigger a alarm, and then it will say that there is an hydrogen gas leak, because hydrogen is a highly flammable gas. Okay, and but this simple fire detection or gas detection is not happening in this country. But we know that the fundamentals we teach to the students, but people are not willing to take up these technologies and make products, because when it comes to the product, it should be commercially viable and competitive technology. These are very simple, basic, fundamental chemistry and physics and biology or economics or literature, which we do in our day-to-day life. And then when you apply those things, you can come up with new products. When you laterally think with those ideas, you can come up with innovative ideas. Okay, this is just one example. Today, people are talking about the UV design boxes. Okay, when you go out and then if you have products, you can keep them. You see, the market potential by 2025 is about $2.5 billion in this particular area, UV LEDs alone. Okay, and then by 2025, this keep on increasing. This one area, how the research, development, and innovation lead to the technology. Okay, and therefore to do research, you should have to do it consistently, with persistence, with the patient, and then with a specific objective, with the interdisciplinary approach. Definitely your quality of research will be very high, and you can have a good number of publications. And then during the process, and you can also come up with an innovative ideas, and innovation will lead to the patented technology. The patent can lead to a startup company. The startup company can have a business and the production of product, and then ultimately you benefit to the society. Okay, therefore it is very, very important, if our country wants to say that, or every one of us would like to say that we are a developed nation, unless otherwise we concentrate on research and development, we cannot become a developed country. Therefore, the research and development component is a very, very important to be globally competitive, whether as an individual faculty members or as an institution or as a country. And to compete with the global scenario, the research innovation is very, very important. Okay, during the process, you see there is a lot of opportunities in terms of fundings. Okay, and there will be also a lot of challenges in terms of failures. When you look at most of the Nobel laureates, when they tried to publish a first paper, the first paper got rejected. Therefore, it was rejected 30 years ago, but 30 years later, for the same work which was rejected by the journal, got Nobel Prize. When you Google and search, you can see there's so many Nobel laureates would have happened something like that. Therefore, it is very, very important that do not afraid of challenges. You face the challenges, make use of the opportunities, and then definitely we can do the good research work. We can come up with a new innovation. Not only we faculty, we can also inculcate this culture to our young generation. Therefore, the young students in the days to come will follow our footsteps and make our country to grow into the greater heights. Okay, this is what I wanted to say in terms of the quality of education and particularly the research and development, the opportunities, and the challenges. Okay, I think with this I stop here, and if you have any questions, please, if time permits, please ask me. Of course, you also have my email ID. You can send me the questions email ID. You can also feel free to contact me. Okay, thank you very much. Sir, any questions? Please.
Thank you, sir, for the enlightening session. Now, the session is open for discussion. Participants may get their doubts clarified with our resource person. If there are any doubts, you may ask now. Sir has also given his mail ID. You can get your doubts clarified through mail also.
I think but that region is known for questioning minds. I think you should question people and you should ask questions and encourage students also to question the teacher, because it's very, very important, because no teacher knows everything in the world, and then it is nothing wrong to accept in the classroom. I don't know, I will come up and maybe I will come back tomorrow and tell you the answer. I think if we have that mindset, we'll also encourage our student to ask questions. Because if you don't encourage that attitude in the classrooms, I think they are never going to ask questions and will not have any innovation and novelty in the days to come. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
So sir is encouraging us to ask questions. Any questions from the participants?
Sir, one general question.
Okay, sir.
Sir, as a researcher, the most of the faculty are interested to publish papers in Web of Science or Scopus or SCA journal. So when they are doing, some research scholars are doing research, are you encouraging the publication in directly to the Web of Science or Scopus or some UGC referred journal? That's my question.
You see, it is always good to publish in the SCA journals, okay? Scopus Citation Index journals, Web of Science based journals, because when you UGC also, it is also our experience. 5 years ago, they listed some journal and then they removed some journals. That means there are large number of journals, and maybe for some domains, like if you are talking about a literature and those kind of areas, maybe for a Tamil language, and something like for that particular domain, okay, when it comes to the science related journals, okay, and it should be definitely in the Scopus Index journals, then only you will have a very high impact. And not only that, when you publish a paper in those journals, which those journals will be referred by all over the world, therefore you are visible not only among your group in your area or in the country, but you are also visible to the world. And therefore, it is very, very important. Therefore, that's how they can contact you through email, and then you develop collaboration, joint project and proposal and so on. Therefore, the quality, if you want to have a quality, and then you have to publish in the SCA journals. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So there is one question from our participant.
Yeah, please.
Can unaided staff get funds for project? How to get?
Yeah, actually, the unaided colleges also can get a project, because DST doesn't insist that it should be an aided college, and only the UGC they will talk about 12B and 2F status. Okay, but whereas other funding agencies like DRDO, Department of Science and Technology, they won't insist about these kind of approvals. And if there is a novelty, and if it is a good proposal, and because they've normally in the DST website also, you can see the thrust areas. I think I have listed out several thrust areas, during my presentation. And if related to that, and if somebody is submitting a proposal, and definitely you will get a project. Okay, you start with modestly with 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs. Okay, once you prove that with successful, go for 40, 50, and then maybe a few years later you can go for a few crores of project. Okay, that is possible. And today, I think there is more and more the funds are available. Of course, this is the pandemic situation. And if you come out of that, and we are not going to be like this forever, we are going to come out of this. Definitely. There is no second thought about it. Therefore, in the coming years, when you make a proposal, even today also, there are a lot of openings are there. Okay. And therefore, there is no discrimination between a public institution or a private institution, aided or unaided. I think everybody can submit a proposal.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah. Participant, you can ask questions either in the chat box or directly. you can just unmute yourself and you can ask questions to the resource person. You just unmute yourself and ask questions.
And maybe you can also, if you can share this list of funding agencies and then deadlines, maybe among the participants, you can share those 2 slides also.
Definitely, sir.
So that they can click. I think it's also in the Word document. It's available, and you can go to the website and submit a proposal.
Okay.
I think if it is few of them could submit a proposal, get a project, I'll be very happy. That is the reason why I wanted to show the list of the proposals and deadlines. There are live things. I have not shown the old ones, and the deadlines are coming soon, and some of them are throughout the year.
So there is another question.
One of the participants is asking question. Without impact factor, can we get a project? Or whether the project sanction is related to impact factor?
No, see, basically, you see, when you write a proposal, and normally it is expected that already you would have done a PhD, okay? And because normally when you do conduct a research means already you would have got a PhD, and then you are working in that area. When you are a PhD holder, it is expected that you publish some papers, okay? That paper should have a quality papers, because that will speak. When you make a proposal, you see in my PhD time, this is the quality of papers, quality of research I have conducted, or my co-investigator conductor. I can be a principal investigator with 2 publications. My co-investigator can be a Dr. Syed who has a 10 publications, for example. And therefore, we project the PI's biodata and co-PI's biodata, and we impress upon the people who are reviewing the project. Okay, these guys have done something. We are reasonable work, and let us give this project, and they can give that is how initially you have to impress upon them. Therefore, to do that, you should have a PhD. You would have already published the papers. Then such projects goes to the funding agency. Then they will review in a positive direction and then get the funding. Okay. Of course, there are student projects are available, fellowships are available. Those kind of things doesn't need any publication, because they are all basically to conduct research to get PhD, and those kind of purpose only they are created. But when it's go for a competitive research project, definitely they will expect that what are your publications? Have you already done or published a few papers in that particular domain? Then they will, and even if you are the publication need not be necessarily in the same domain. Okay, maybe you can switch to the new domain, new area, but it will build the confidence to the reviewers that these people have already done some good work. Therefore, if we give this project also, they will do this work. Okay, that is that is how people will try to review. Therefore, keeping in mind, and every teacher, I think nowadays it's more and more important that even if you are not registered for PhD, kindly register for PhD, get the PhD, try to guide the PhD students. It's very, very important. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Sir, only one question more. It is not related to the topic, but even though it is not related, the question is they have sent me the privately. How to pursue DSc or DLit like that?
Oh, you see, several universities are offering DSc, and then of course, Manonmani Master is a provision, but it has to be reviewed. And some universities like Alagappa University, Periyar University, and Madras University, they are all giving DSc. No, DSc will happen when you would have guided, say, for example, 10 PhD students. Okay, and during the 10 PhD students in a particular area, you would have published large number of publications. Maybe say, for example, 50 to 100 publications. And then when you submit to the DSc, we were like, it is kind of thesis, okay? You consolidate all the work, and then you give the reviewers, and then you recommend, and then whatever requirements the university gives, and based on that you submit the proposal. Okay, it's not DSc is not that after PhD you are getting a DSc. It's not just above PhD like MSc and then PhD or ME and PhD after the DSc. Okay, after PhD you have to do a lot of research work, guiding PhD and publication in good journals. And then after over a period of time, maybe 15, 20 years of work, and then you consolidate them and then submit to the university to get a DSc, okay, Doctor of Science. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, then, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Khalil, sir, please.
Sir, vote of thanks.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. So I begin in the name of God, the most beneficent and the most merciful. It's my immense pleasure to propose vote of thanks on this gracious occasion. First of all, I would like to thank Almighty Allah for having blessed us with good health and chanced us to conduct this webinar. Next, I would like to thank from my heart's core the Secretary and Correspondent of our College Managing Committee, Alhaj T.S. Kapoor Rabbani Sahib, for remaining a great visionary in taking Sadakathullah College to newer heights and enabling us in the conduct of such wonderful academic activities like this. Thank you, sir. With the same respect and cordiality, I would like to thank our Treasurer, Alhaj H.M. Sheikh Abdul Qadir, and Executive Committee members, Janab Engineer LKME Muhammad Nawab Hussain, Alhaj W.S. Syed Abdul Rahman, and Alhaj M.K. Muhammad Nazir for their valuable support. Thank you, sirs. I would like to sincerely thank the resource person, Dr. Krishnan Bhaskar, the accreditation ambassador of our college under the UGC Paramarsh scheme, and director, CTDT Anna University, for enlightening us with this resourceful talk with the title Research and Innovation Challenges and Opportunities. It actually threw light on the nuances of research on recent trends to be undertaken by faculty and other researchers in the background of the NAC accreditation process. It was an insightful session, sir. Thank you very much. Next, I register my sincere gratitude to our respected principal, Dr. M. Muhammad Sadiq, for being instrumental in the conduct of this webinar. Thank you, sir. I also sincerely thank Dr. Syed Mohammad Khaja, our Vice Principal, for your support and motivation. Thank you, sir. I'll fail in my duty if I don't thank Dr. A. Syed Mohammad, the coordinator of IQAC. I wholeheartedly thank you, sir, for your motivation. I cordially extend my gratitude to the Controller of Examinations, Dr. S.M. Abdul Qadir, Dean of Arts and NERF Coordinator, Dr. S. Muhammad Hanif, Dean of Sciences, Dr. Muhammad Roshan, Dean of Research, Dr. M. Sheikh Mohiddin Badshah, College Bursar, Dr. Eman Abu Salih Sheikh, Deputy Controller of Examinations, Dr. Kanna Muttaya, Dean of the Digital Learning Center, Dr. Shaju Nisha, the heads of various departments, and other administrative heads for your valuable presence and support. Thank you very much, dear sirs and madams. I register my hearty gratitude to all the participants who have made this webinar a well-attended and successful one. Thank you all. Last but not least, I would like to thank Mrs. Aminal, Mrs. Rajeshwari, and Mrs. Ramalakshmi for the technical support. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, Khalil. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
It is my duty to thank all the principal and the IQC coordinator of Minty institution and also the participants. So we posted the feedback link in the chat box.